Morning. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and super intelligent shades of the colour sky blue, pink, or mauve. Mauve's a good colour. I like mauve. My very special guest today is Alessandra from Primal Health Code. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Very good. And is this your first ride on the crazy train here on the channel? I think it is.
It is. That's right.
It was very brave of you to show up, frankly.
Imitating.
Yeah. So basically, tell us all about your social media, where we can find you first up, all of that, get that out of the way straight away, and then jump into it. Tell us your story. How did you come across this crazy diet and what have you experienced and all of that?
So for now, I only have a small YouTube channel and I have my Instagram at Primal Health Code. And that's just what it is. I'm just working on my website for now. So probably will be released next year if someone is interested. I'm working on another couple of side things, but it's a secret for now. So my story, well, I think it all started when I was around 18 years old and I started going to the gym, started getting into bodybuilding, that kind of stuff. Probably because I was scrolling on Instagram too much and I saw all of those fitness influencers that were shredded with abs, and I had a little bit of extra fat on my midsection that I wanted to shed. So I thought, okay, let's see, I'm going to do what they're doing and it's going to work for my body too. So I started going to the gym without a personal trainer. Initially, I was just doing random exercises, stuff like that. And I thought I was eating a little bit better, but obviously I had no idea of what a healthy diet looks like. And then after about a year, I met with this personal trainer that wanted to prepare me for a bikini competition. So that's where it all started. And so he gave me a workout program and he gave me some calories and macro to follow. So that was the start of all of the problem that I had for the past few years. So he put me in a calorie deficit. I was that was like a 6 months period that I was eating around 1,200 calories, 30 grams of fat, which we know are essential, especially for women. Mm-hmm. And I was getting those fats probably from peanut butter and stuff like that. I was eating tons and tons of vegetables, very lean proteins like chicken breast that I hate now because I can't eat it. It's so dry. And I was overusing artificial sweeteners a lot. I was putting them everywhere. And I was also not eating enough salt because he told me, because salt gives you water retention and then, you're not going to look good on stage. And I was also doing 6 workouts per week, training legs 6 days per week, about 2 hours long, doing deadlift almost every day. In fact, I have a hernia now in my back because I injured myself. On top of that, I was doing 45 to an hour of cardio, zone 2, incline walking or stairs, stuff like that. And then on top of that, I was doing 15,000 steps every day, eating pretty much nothing and overtraining. So from there, I lost my period for 2 years or more, and I started developing a lot of digestive issues, probably related to the crap food that I was eating. I was eating oatmeal, chicken breast, and artificial sweeteners, and a crazy amount of vegetables. So I ended up not doing my show because COVID hit at that point. And so I decided to bulk up because in those 6 months, I lost weight for sure, but I also lost a lot of muscle. I lost my health, my period, my hair, where I was losing my hair, my nails were brittle, and I was constantly in a bad mood. I didn't have energy to do anything else other than training. And also I was so passionate about training, going to the gym. I liked it initially. And then after the 6 months, I remember one day I was at the gym, I had to do deadlift again, and I literally started crying because I hated it so much. So it took away my passion for the sport as well. So after that, I decided to start with the calorie deficit and start to build some muscle. So I went online and looked at how do you build muscle. And so the advice was increase your calories and eat majority of your calories from carbohydrates. Even lower your protein if you're eating too much more carbohydrates, because if you're bulking, you're supposed to lower your protein intake and eat more carbs. So I was eating a ton of rice and pasta, and I was counting those protein from the rice and the pasta in my protein intake. So I was really eating increasingly less quality protein and nutrition, micronutrients and vitamins. And so at that point, I started gaining weight, and I started having digestive issues like constipation and bloating for over 2 years. I was very uncomfortable in my own body. So I went to the doctor to try to solve these problems, and he recommended I eat a higher fiber diet. So that's what I did. I started buying a lot of whole grains and all of the highest fiber foods ever that you can find. On top of that, I was taking psyllium or something like that. It's like a fiber supplement that becomes like gel-like in your intestine. And so that made it so much worse, because we can talk about it. We know that fibers don't fix constipation. They make it chronic. They make it worse. And so at some point, after years of feeling very uncomfortable, not having my period, being very worried because when you don't produce enough estrogen and progesterone, you're probably gonna be at risk of osteoporosis, cognitive dysfunction, and other problems, I decided to I read a book. I read a book. It was Mandy Pellets, something like that. I don't know. She was talking about fasting, and she was talking about a low carbohydrate diet. So that's where I switched, and I stopped eating processed foods, and I stopped eating artificial sweeteners. I kept some vegetables, some fruits, and sourdough bread, just a little bit of that. And I got better, but not 100%. Initially, I felt better. I wasn't as bloated anymore. I still couldn't go to the bathroom regularly, but I felt so much better. I lost some weight. I lost some inflammation. But then I kind of I was still counting my calories though, because, when you spend so many years counting calories, you think that that's the way. That's the only way to lose weight. So I was under eating still, but at least I wasn't eating as many carbs and as many processed foods. So I felt a little bit better. And then I hit a plateau. I couldn't lose that extra weight that I wanted to lose anymore. And I started feeling bad again. So at the end, months in this diet, I was doing the animal-based diet, so with fruit and honey, and I gained weight. And I was like, how is that possible? So then I kept reading, doing my own researches, and I came by the carnivore diet, and I started doing that. And all of my problems solved in a couple of weeks. Felt so much better, and I'm probably never going back.
Incredible. So with a story like that, what does someone like you have to say to these folks, these people in this industry who have led you up so many different garden paths that it's laughable?
What I have to say, a few bad words probably, but
let's hear them. We like bad words here.
I just think that they should be educated about it, and they should not be allowed to give advice, especially to young people that don't know anything, and destroy their health. They should not be allowed to do that. Because, when you can be a personal trainer, you just take a couple of days course. And I did that. I mean, I had a bachelor degree in exercise physiology, but to work in a gym when I was working as a personal trainer, they didn't want my bachelor degree. They wanted the certification from the 2-day stupid course that you don't learn anything about, how the body works. And definitely you don't learn anything about nutrition. And then you're allowed to take a random person that you don't know and give them a calorie-based meal plan with macronutrients and give them a 30 grams a day intake of fat, that it's super bad for women. Like, I think that there's so much wrong in the fitness industry, and everybody's going based on these people that take steroids, and they think that it's sustainable and they think that they can do it, that they just need to do the same workout and follow the same diet. But everybody's different. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, can I be extremely rude? How old are you now?
Me, 26.
Right. God, you don't look it. Goodness gracious. All right.
Just 26.
Yeah, it must be all that healthy carnivore dieting that's reverse aging you or something. All right.
Well, I definitely have less of a bloated face and less acne that I had before. So that's always good.
Nice. All right. So thinking on some of these things specifically these days, how it may have changed. First of all, when you came across the carnivore diet, just out of interest, who was the first commentator on that you came across? What was your gateway to that?
First, oh my God. Okay. It wasn't the carnivore diet, but the first, now you're going to kill me, it was Paul Saladino, which now I know. I know everything about that. I actually they wanted to sponsor me, both of his companies, and I said no, because I don't want to sustain that. I don't want to take organ pills or collagen or all of the other stuff that they sell, because you can get them through diet. Why should I supplement it?
Dead right.
And it was probably Anthony Chaffee.
Yep.
Or Chaffee.
Chaffee.
It wasn't you, unfortunately. I discovered you later. But I learned
it wasn't me.
I learned the most from you, though, in terms of how the body works, the Randall cycle, insulin resistance, calories.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you're welcome. All right. So calories, let's go there. Because obviously, the main push, other than fat avoidance, which is ridiculous, but the main push of the fitness industry in terms of body composition maintenance this is what they're always on about: calories in, calories out. Track your calories, control your calories, be in a calorie deficit, all of that. Look, my people have heard this a million times from me. Why don't you tell us what's wrong with this whole idea?
Well, let's see if I can explain it as well as you do. We'll see. Well, first thing, what is a calorie?
Yeah.
And most people will not be able to answer that. They just go on pretending that they know all about how the body works and it's all about calories in, calories out. And then you ask them, well, what is a calories? And they're like, oh, well, I never thought about that. So a calorie is a unit of heat energy.
Very good.
And a unit of heat energy, it's a photon. And we know that the photon has zero rest mass. So how can you modify your body mass by intaking or expanding something that has zero mass? Like, by definition, you cannot modify your body mass like that. And that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Second thing, they go on with the first law of thermodynamics that they probably won't be able to tell me which one is the law. Mm-hmm. And they say that because calories cannot be created or destructed, it must be energy cannot be created or destructed, and must be conserved. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if you eat more than you expend, you're gonna gain fat or weight, and if you expend more than you eat, then you're gonna lose fat or weight. The problem is that this law applies to a closed system where mass is conserved, and the human body, it's an open system, because we constantly, if you think about it, when you eat food, that's mass. You eat mass. And then when you go to the bathroom, you lose mass. Or as simple as when you breathe in, you intake oxygen, which you can measure. It has a weight of mass. It's a type of mass. Yeah. And then you exhale carbon dioxide, and that's mass. So you constantly are exchanging mass between your body and the environment. So the body is not a closed system, it's an open system. So you cannot, by definition, apply the first law of thermodynamics to your body. Another thing is that going back to the heat energy. So how do you measure calories? Because people think that when you buy food and you eat food, that food contains calories.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that you measure calories, pretty much you put a piece of food in a bomb calorimeter, which is a sealed chamber, which is filled with oxygen, surrounded by water. And what they do is that they incinerate the food until it's ash, and then they measure the heat energy necessary to bring the temperature of 1 gram of water up to 1 degree Celsius. And that's pretty much how they calculate the supposed calories in that food. But that food creates this heat energy, these calories, only when it's incinerated. And when it's ash, the chemical bonds inside that piece of food, inside the matrix of that food, they don't exist anymore. So your body cannot make energy from a chemical bond that it's not existent. That's not how the body works. The body doesn't burn the food. It extracts chemical energy from the chemical bonds inside the macronutrients, which are protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. So tell me, how can you apply calories to a body? Like to get the calories, you have to burn the food first, and your body doesn't burn the food. That just doesn't work. It's nonsense.
Yep. Excellent. I mean, the only things that I would kind of add to that at all is that a lot of people will say, well, the argument that suggests that calories are not relevant as a measurement of energy for metabolism, those people just don't understand that mass is not really the issue here. The issue here is that mass is a form of energy condensed, so it's the same thing anyway. Energy exists in various different forms, and it's fungible, meaning that one form of energy can be changed for another form of energy, and that energy is conserved, as you mentioned. The couple of problems with that are, number one, energy is not conserved. Exactly. It's false. Energy is only conserved, to all intents and purposes, locally. In a universal sense, energy is not conserved, so the law breaks down. It's not a law. It's a law that works somewhat. Also, the idea that energy is fungible, one form to another, is correct, absolutely, so long as you have the kit to do that. So absolutely, you can change heat energy into mechanical energy. That's what the law of thermodynamics is about, by the way. Steam, using to drive pistons to drive an engine. That's turning heat into mechanical movement. So heat energy becomes kinetic movement of different parts of machinery. As it turns out, heat is a form of kinetic energy in the first place. Fine. The bit of kit that's required to make that happen is the steam engine. It can do that. Okay. Here's another analogy of the same thing. You'll probably recognize one of these, won't you? What's that?
Yeah. $20.
20
You know,
US
I'm actually
dollars. Right? That's $20 US.
Yes.
In the US, were I in the US, I'm not, this would be worth $20. And I could use that for whatever nefarious purpose I would want to use $20 for. I'm not in the US right now. I'm in the independent sovereign nation of Pimbatia, which is encircled by the communist state of New Zealand, the totalitarian state of New Zealand. The value of this here is nothing. I can't use this for anything.
You can convert it.
I can if I go to the bank. That's the kit, right? The bank is the kit where I can convert this, right? Or the exchange or whatever it is. I'm not going to, though, because it's just going to sit on my desk so I can use it as a prop for things, right? The same deal in the human body. We cannot capture heat energy and use that for metabolic process. Metabolic process relies entirely on chemical energy, and the kit that we have is the ability, by exchanging one or two forms of mass for one or two other forms of mass in a chemical reaction, that we produce a substance which has the chemical energy to drive our metabolism, ATP. Cool. if we could use calories, which are heat energy and not potential chemical energy, then we wouldn't need the food. We could just sit in the sun, absorbing all those photons, all those calories. So, yeah, calories, nonsense. Done. I think
Yeah,
it's
the
brilliant.
thing is that supposedly for the calorie model, carbohydrates and proteins have 4 calories for 1 gram.
Yes.
So you're telling me that carbohydrates and proteins in the body go through the same pathway to create energy, but you can't compare them because we know that, yeah, we can use carbohydrates for energy, of course, but proteins have more of a functional structure. They have more of a structural function, to make up enzymes, hormones, muscle tissue, any other tissue, and they have a lot of functions which are not energy.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense to say that you can eat the same amount of calories from protein and from carbs and you're going to have the same exact outcome.
Correct.
Because even if we're like in a starvation situation, or we're not taking enough fat as fuel in a low carbohydrate diet, we're still going to use 10 to 20% of the protein to make energy. And then we're probably going to have serious health consequences. Like there's something that is called the rabbit starvation that was going on when people were only eating rabbits, which are very lean. If the body can't produce enough energy, you will die.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense to compare carbohydrates and protein as source of 4 calories for 1 gram for 4 calories. It doesn't make any sense.
Correct. Does not. Brilliant. Love it. So it seems like it's getting through. Did you learn that, by the way, in your bachelor's degree of exercise physiology?
No. I didn't learn anything. Actually, when I was trying to bulk up, I was doing a ton of researches in other like fitness websites where they give you the nutrition course that you can learn stuff. And I learned to eat low fat, avoid saturated fats. Seed oils are heart healthy, and I should eat 60 to 70% of my calories from carbohydrates.
That's what they taught me too. I tried to.
And that's what I was doing, and it wasn't working.
Right.
And even though I was eating less and less and less calories, I wasn't losing weight. Can you tell me why?
Well,
I thought it was something wrong with me.
Yeah, exactly. What's wrong is the information that is being provided to you, which is based in theology, bought and paid for theology, bought and paid for with this stuff, propaganda, smoke and mirrors, look over there, shiny thing, but anything but actual scientific rigor, facts, common sense, any of that kind of stuff. All right, so along those lines, facts and figures and common sense and whatever else, another one that you've mentioned that really fascinates me is this idea that a lot of people, including people with exercise physiology degrees, will tell you that moderate intensity aerobic style, endurance style training is a great idea and you should do a lot of it. What do you think of that?
I think that doing so much cardio made me lose muscle, feel terrible, made my metabolism dropped, like my metabolic rate, and tons of other consequences.
Did it affect your hunger?
I mean, at that point, I was hungry 24/7. I was just in pain. I remember I was literally waking up every single night around 4 to 5, and I was so hungry, I couldn't fall asleep. And it was just like sleep deprived at that point. But I just pushed through because I wanted to get ready for that competition. It was more like a mental thing. But honestly, not worth it.
Yeah. So...
I don't think...
Go on.
Sorry.
No, you go. You go.
I just don't think that cardio it's a good tool for fat loss.
Correct.
Because cardio doesn't influence the hormonal system. And we know that if you want to mobilize fat, you need to have a situation where your insulin and your blood sugars are low. Otherwise, even if you eat in a calorie deficit and even if you go and do your 45 minutes of cardio, if the rest of your day you're living in a high insulin state, you're not going to lose weight. Fat. Sorry, you're not going to lose fat.
Very good. Absolutely true. Yep. This known phenomena where an athlete with some muscle mass or a person with some muscle mass who starts doing a bunch of cardio that they weren't doing suddenly finds that their muscle mass starts decreasing. Why is that? I mean, I know why. I'm just going to throw you on the spot and see if you've got
if I can answer this.
Yeah.
Okay. In my opinion, is because when we're in a situation of chronic exercising, chronic cardio, and low recovery, your cortisol hormone will be elevated more than it should. And so in that period of time, gluconeogenesis it's activated. And when you're done with your glycogen stores, wait. you're just gonna tap into your amino acids in your muscle for energy. So you're gonna just utilize your muscle for energy constantly.
Okay, good thought.
That's what I think.
All right.
That's one of the things.
Yep, absolutely. That's a good thought. The one I tend to go to, the one I use mostly is this. When you did your bachelor's degree in exercise, I bet you anything you like, they taught you have 3 muscle fiber types.
Yeah.
Right, so they call them type 1, type 2A, and type 2X or 2B. Type 1 is so-called aerobic fibers that use mostly oxygen and aren't so good at using glycogen, and they're quite small in terms of their diameter, and they're not very powerful, but they last a lot longer. They've got more endurance. And then the type 2 fiber is kind of in the middle, and the type 2A or 2X fiber is a much larger fiber in its diameter. It uses much more glycogen, much less fat and oxidative process relatively. It's much more powerful, produces much more force, but fatigues much more quickly.
Yeah.
That'll be what they taught you, because they tried to teach me that too. Here's the problem with it. It's bullshit. You don't have 3 muscle fiber types. You have a continuum of muscle fiber morphology that starts at one end, ends at the other end. You have a mixture of morphologies of different muscles as per different muscles in the body and as per genetic makeup, etc. And these muscle morphologies are trainable. So the fibers in the middle, if you do a bunch of aerobic stuff, guess what happens?
You're training that type of
Those fibers become smaller, more oxidative, less glycolytic, more endurance trained, and less able to produce force. Or if you do a lot of high intensity training, the muscle fibers in the middle go the other way. They become larger, more glycolytic, less oxidative, more powerful, but less endurance ability.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You train a lot. That's what happens.
Another thing that I was taught that was wrong, and I didn't research about that, and now I know.
There you go. To give an example of this, take 2 blokes who both have the same sort of geographical genetic background a bit. Not exactly the same, but the same sort of thing. They're both black men is what I'm saying. Let's say Usain Bolt and Mohammed Farah, if we compare those 2 individuals. Now, genetically, all human beings, no matter of your skin color, actually are very, very similar genetically.
Yeah.
And yet, you look at Mo Farah, and he's as skinny as a rake, a tiny little man in terms of muscle mass, but he's one of the greatest distance runners that the world has ever seen. Or you look at Usain Bolt, who is probably the greatest sprinter that the world has ever seen, over 100 meters and probably 200. Completely different morphology. Now, you could say, well, they selected their sport on the basis of their genetic potential, perhaps to some degree, but if you took those two gentlemen and cross-trained them, they would come towards each other in terms of muscle mass because their muscle morphologies would change to suit their training.
Sure.
So that's why if you do a bunch of aerobic stuff and you have done some resistance training, that aerobic stuff, that endurance-based stuff, is actually antagonistic and not helpful to your muscular development if that's what you're looking for.
Well, now I'm doing sprints, which are so much better.
Yep.
And I hate doing cardio.
Yep.
I'm walking. Walking outside is nice.
Yeah. Very low intensity is fine too. There's no problem with doing just walking. That's not going to cause a huge training response.
Just correct what I said about cortisol before. Is that also, does it influence muscle mass?
Absolutely. Cortisol absolutely can, if it's at a high enough level and it's chronic, absolutely that can cause the mobilization of some of your we'll call them stored amino acids in your body structures. You bet that can happen. It's not necessarily a fait accompli. It won't definitely happen any more than anything else will definitely happen. And so it's an absolutely valid idea. You bet.
Okay. But yeah, the fiber one, it makes much more sense.
Anyway, that's where I've got to with that. The other reasons to avoid cardio in my mind are that it does tend to increase your hunger signaling.
For sure.
It does tend to make you eat more that you don't need because, that's the way it is with that kind of exercise. They do tell you to eat a whole bunch of carbohydrates because you need carbohydrates to fuel your exercise, they tell you, which is absolute nonsense. Even if
you're not your pre-workout meal, your post-workout meal?
No, I don't believe in any. No, I don't buy into any of that at all. Not whatsoever.
I was at the time. Oh my goodness. Yeah. My breakfast was a bowl of oatmeal with peanut butter and a whole banana. And then 1 hour after that, right before the gym, I was eating like a Rice Krispie treat.
Ooh.
And after the gym, I was eating fruit.
Right. Wow. Fruit, fructose. A lot people that don't understand this should probably go and have a look at the concomitant necessary effect of fructose on hepatic ATP concentration. That'll be of interest, I think. Basically what happens is you eat fructose and that drags the concentration of ATP in your liver cells down.
Mm-hmm.
And then that sends a message to make you hungry.
Yeah, I never feel full if I eat fruit. I remember if you put like a bowl of cherries in front of somebody, they can eat the whole thing.
That's it. It's nothing to do with what your body needs. It's because it keeps causing the hunger signal to just keep happening and happening and happening and happening because the more fructose you pour in, as it pulls and goes through that pathway where it's metabolized, that's dragging that ATP concentration down, and then your liver sends a message out to the rest of your system telling you that you're hungry. That's why bears that eat berries for a couple of weeks before the winter to put on fat, that's why that happens. It's a natural design. Fruit is, and especially fructosey things are designed absolutely to cause you to gain fat if you eat enough of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the way that's counteracted is they tell you to do more exercise, which makes you hungry.
That's true.
And you better eat carbs, though, because you need the carbs to fuel the exercise, they tell you, even though you don't need that.
Yeah, and people on the animal-based community think that honey is so much better than sugar.
Why would it be?
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Good
like
question.
the fructose concentration in honey, it's even higher than table sugar, right?
Yep. Depending on the honey, its source and where it comes from, etc. It absolutely can be, yes.
I mean, it might have some more enzymes or vitamins or minerals and whatever, but I mean, the systemic consequence when you eat that much carbohydrates, we know what it is.
Yep. You bet.
You're gonna gain fat. You're gonna have oxidative stress or inflammation or whatever, depending on how much you eat, of course.
Exactly.
And if we eat with a lot of fat together, then we go into another discussion.
Cool. All right. So are you still doing any kind of physique competing of any kind, or have you given that away?
That was it for me.
Yeah.
I realized it wasn't. I was also so embarrassed to, like, just walking half naked in front of everybody. It's not really my thing.
Right. Yeah. I do wonder about folks that gravitate to those kind of what are ostensibly, entirely events based on how somebody looks.
Yeah.
And you could say, yes, there's a skill
You're
involved
really
in it.
judged on your look.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get, if you go and look at the Olympia competitions, it's so unhealthy. I mean, obviously they're on steroids, but the amount of leanness that they want, especially for women, you can't sustain that. You're going to have hormonal problems. It's super unhealthy.
Yeah. Female athlete.
I love going to the gym. I still go to the gym and train, do my resistance training. It's super good for you.
Yeah.
Do some sprintings, and I walk outside. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your body.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
that's
and it sounds like you're doing some consultancy work with folks that need better advice than what they've been given from others.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Or you
For now, I'm
planning
just
to?
building my persona, and probably next year.
Yeah.
I'm also still studying.
Well, I would suggest that once folks have had a look at your what you've said today in this discussion, they'll probably come racing over to your channels to subscribe, and you'll have a huge influx of subs, and suddenly you won't have a small YouTube channel anymore, I would suggest.
Hope so. Our video only got 22 views.
Oh, did it? Okay,
Yeah.
the one we did on your channel. Oh,
sorry, because you said a lot of good things, so maybe one day more people will see.
Although, yeah, I did see that you were racking up the crowd there by using some shorts out of there just to annoy people that think calories in, calories out is a good idea and all of that. That's always good.
Just look at the comments.
All right. So there you have it, my Meat Militia. Basically, obviously, you need to go and subscribe over there to give us the name of your channel again. The Primal
Health Code.
Primal Health Code, all one word, I presume, at the Primal Health Code. Yeah. There it is. And sub over there, support, make comments under the videos, like the videos, share them on your social media, visit, basically all the things that help the algorithm pick this material up, and suddenly YouTube goes, oh, right, there's some interest here. Let's push it out to a wider audience, and then we can drag in people who don't even know who I am. That'd be awesome, because that's far too many people that don't know who I am as well.
Yeah, I think you should have far more people following you, because you're one of the only ones that actually goes and teaches the biochemistry and biology, anatomy, all of that.
Yeah.
It's usually even if you go on other YouTube channels that have millions of subscribers, they're very vague with their explanation, especially around insulin resistance. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
And calories.
Yeah. All of those things. Brilliant. Yes, I mean, the reason obviously I'm not more popular is because of partly because of my presentation style, which is abrasive, and many people find that untenable, whatever. But mostly actually, it's not that at all. Mostly it's because the algorithm does not promote me, because I've had the temerity in the past to say things that are not accepted narrative, you see. And so there's this ongoing down-regulation of my visibility, sadly. All things I'm working on in whichever way I can, and talking to all the right people about doing something about it if I possibly can, etc. Including having a bunch of other YouTube channels that you guys also don't watch for some reason. What's wrong with you? My channels are great. I've got one where it's all collar and tie, all suit and that, and no calling anybody any short words or anything like that, just the facts. It's got about 7,000 subs, and nobody watches it, so I don't post any videos there anymore. Maybe if you all went and subbed to that and started watching all those videos again, I might start posting on that channel again, put the collar and tie on and stop saying naughty words, maybe, if you like that. I've got another channel where I talk about how the earth is not flat.
What did you say?
I've got another channel where I talk about how the earth is not flat.
Oh my God.
I can't believe anybody really believes that it's flat. It's unbelievable. It's just incredible. And a bunch of other channels. But, just don't get any airtime or whatever. So it's a hard road being a social media influencer. I think that we could all do a lot more than we do, including me. I'm not just pointing the finger at you, dear viewers. I'm saying all of us could do more to support each other in a way that is likely to promote some action. So those are your missions, Meat Militia. Go and subscribe to the Primal Health Code.
Yes.
Immediately. Yes. And
Maybe I should change that name.
Shorter maybe. Don't change it now because we're promoting it as that. So yeah, good stuff. All right, look, as usual, for the second time that you and I have chatted, it's been an absolute pleasure. You're a complete delight, and really very knowledgeable, clearly, about what you're talking about. And so it's very heartening that young people like yourself, here's me calling you a young person. It's only because I'm twice your age. But it's very heartening that there is hope coming through in the next generations of folks that are prepared to stick their head up above the parapet and say, hey, listen, everything that you've been told is absolute nonsense and we need to do better.
But I feel like being young doesn't give me enough credibility because people around me they just don't believe me. They go on ChatGPT and ChatGPT says something else and they're like, you see, this one says the red meat is bad for you. Well, and I'm like trying to explain them how it's not bad for you and how it doesn't cause heart disease from,
Yeah, exactly. What you'll find when you get to my age, which is more than twice your current age, by the way, what you'll find is a lot of people still won't believe you if you're still saying the same things. I don't think it's about age. It's about this very, very strong process of indoctrination, of brainwashing of people from a very, very young age with disinformation from the very beginning. It's a very, very hard road to reprogram folks. So we are very grateful that there are a number of you who follow me who have been unbrainwashed. That's awesome. It's also very, very gratifying that some of the very big influencers out there in the carnivore space are saying the same things that I'm saying, mostly because they're actually asking me in the background, hey, how do I explain this? Is this scientifically correct and valid and whatever else? And some of those people are even giving me some credit for that. Some of them are not Ken Berry. I just thought I'd throw that out there. There it is. Look, it's been a pleasure. We'd love to have you on the channel again. Perhaps, here's something for you. On a Saturday night US time, or Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning our time, there is a weekly live stream question and answer session, which you're more than qualified for. If you're of a mind sometime, I'll have my people email your people. These are my people. These are my people here. I'll have this guy email you in the background. And
how old is that one?
This one? He's slightly older than I am.
Oh my goodness.
He was gifted to me by a now late aunt at my birth.
It's a little spooky though.
He's supposed to be.
Happening with the eyes over there.
Yeah. You don't cross Ted. You don't do that. But anyway, Ted will send you an email and we'll see if you're keen to come on again and do questions and answers live.
That'd be great.
Also, there you go. There you go. She said it's going to be great, folks. That's almost like...
Unless they ask me something that I don't know, then I'm just going to hide.
Well, here's what I do when people ask me something I don't know, because there are things I don't know. Here's what I do. I say, I don't know. Isn't that great how that works?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Or I'm not sure, but here's what I think might be the case. That's also perfectly acceptable. The main thing is not to make some shit up that you don't know, like a lot of people do. I'm not saying you do at all.
Well, kind of with the cortisol thing.
Not really. That was a perfectly good idea, and I think that it's it's part of it potentially.
I'm just not great at explain myself because that's not my first language, so I'm just trying.
That too,
best.
Very impressive. People that can speak more than one language fluently, or at least fluently enough to hold a conversation. I can speak 3 or 4 languages, but only enough to be grievously insulting.
Which one?
What I do is I learn all the most offensive things to say, and then that's enough. Yeah. Whatever. All right. Look, it's been a pleasure. do come back again. Do come on the live stream Q&As. That'll be awesome. If you'd like to see that, boys and girls, my followers, ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. Comment down there. Yes, yes. Have her back. Drag her back by the hair if you have to. Or something. I don't know. And we'll make it happen, probably, in the background. Or Ted will,
Awesome.
because nobody refuses Ted. Trust me.
No, we love Ted.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Thanks for being here. See you all later, boys and girls. Be good. Don't do anything I would. Trust me on that.
Bye-bye.
See you all.